Good morning. Good morning. It is Roshida, and here I am today to talk to you about giving grace to yourself and giving grace to others. Thanks for everyone for being here today. I have kind of a new setup, so if there's any issues with the video or the sound, let me know. I'm trying something, a new little hooking up. So, hey to Halisi and Glass Half Full and Rhonda in the comments. Hope everyone's doing well. I know that today is Mother's Day. So I may be getting more of you or less of you than usual. But thank you for spending this day with me. I really appreciate it. And if you are a mother, if you have a mother, if you're feeling any kind of way about today that is not positive and filled with love, I am sending you love. And I'm really glad that you've chosen to spend this time with me today. So, hey everyone, if you're watching on the replay, hi, drop a comment and let me know that you were here. And let's get into it. Okay, so I had a plan to talk to actually a mother today. It was unrelated to being a mother, but that was a plan for the day. But she couldn't make it. So it's me and you. And we're going to I want to talk today about grace. Hey, Damaris. Hey, Yolanda. It's hard for me to see with my setup. It's hard for me to see your comments. Ooh, I can move this. That's what I'll do. Oh, that made it easier. Boom, boom. Perfect. Okay. So I was going to talk to a mother today, but she couldn't make it. So it's me and you. We're talking about grace. I wanted to talk about grace because I know that on a day like this, it can be an important topic depending on your relationships, giving people grace. But also I want to talk about grace on your journey. So if you're here and you're planning to take a career break or move abroad, those are really big choices, and they can create really big feelings in yourself and in other people. And so I want you to give yourself the space for you to mess up on your journey and to give yourself grace and to forgive yourself, and to also, where possible, give grace to the people who don't understand what you're doing, what you're trying to do, what you're planning to do. And I specifically thought about that in relationship to mothers, because when I talk to people who are on this journey, their mothers tend to be sometimes their biggest cheerleaders and sometimes the biggest distractors. But usually, regardless of your relationship with your mother, if they are present in your life at all, if you're planning a move, a significant move, your mother tends to be the biggest human factor, right? Besides yourself, mothers tend to be the biggest factor. And so, because Mother's Day isn't always easy for all of us, and I'll admit being someone who it's not always easy for. So yeah, I just want to talk about this. So Danielle says, love his topics. I'm having a hard time giving myself grace. I'm much better about it, but definitely still a work in progress. Yeah, it's important not just to give yourself grace, but to also recognize that like something happened, you've given yourself grace, you've moved past, right? Like one of the things that I find trips me up a lot and I'd like to be better about is like reminiscing to something I did when I was like 12 that was either embarrassing or uncomfortable for some reason, and like still going back there and it having more relevance in my brain than I want it to. And so I personally would like to be better about giving myself grace about things like that. Sometimes I'm great at it, sometimes I'm not, but yeah, that's where I am. And I know for a lot of us, and why it's relevant to this channel is that we, when you're making huge decisions, you're going to get some things wrong, right? Like you're going to have the best hopes, and either you've made the wrong decision. It's never really a wrong decision. Like it'll always work out. I firmly believe things will always work out, but you've made a decision that doesn't necessarily support what you want in the moment that it comes to reality, comes to fruition, or there were other options that would have worked out better. And sometimes it can be small things. So Adelia, Picky Girl Travels in the comments. Hey girl, hey. Sent me a link today about United canceling a lot of their summer routes. Right? Like if you are planning a trip around the world and you've got a United ticket somewhere and United has canceled that route, and now you have to go buy a ticket somewhere else, you might not feel like giving yourself grace for buying a United ticket versus a different ticket, but you didn't know what was going to happen, right? Like you didn't have any control over that. You're not the vice president of canceled routes at United, right? Like that's not something you can do. So it's important that we remember that a lot of things are outside of our control, and we can only control what we can control, and that giving yourself the grace to know that you'll make good decisions, and when you don't make good decisions, you'll make better decisions with the information you have, and you're constantly gathering information, and that's really all you can do is important when you're making like significant life choices. And then like it's little things. So you're going to come in contact with people abroad. If you move abroad, you take a long-term career break, you're going to come in contact with people who aren't coming from the same perspective you are. They may be moving for different reasons. There may be, you just have we're moving from different places. You have different perspectives on things. And it's important to remember that like, no matter how crazy or bizarre, strange their opinions, unsolicited advice, perspective is, it doesn't impact you unless you want it to, and it's something that you can give them grace for. I'll tell y'all a story in a minute. But hey, if you're new here, you don't know who I am. I am Roshida Dowe. I'm a career break coach and I help people move abroad. I live in Mexico City, and I do this every Sunday morning. So hi, everyone. Hi, everyone, for being here. And I should say this because apparently I haven't said enough on this channel. I am one half of Exodus Summit, Stephanie Perry. The other half is in the comments right now. For the women who are part of Exodus Summit, we are doing a meetup in Cancun. If you're in the Exodus Summit group, we have posted multiple times about the meetup, but I think some people still haven't seen it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're in the Exodus Summit Facebook group, search for a post about Cancun or meetup and you'll get the information. Okay. All right. So we're giving each other grace. We're giving strangers grace. We're giving ourselves grace when we mess up. You'll miss a flight, right? Something will happen and you had a child. I was in Heathrow and I'd gotten like a last minute ticket, and I had 2 flight options, and I just knew what time my flight was, but I was wrong. It was a wrong flight. And by the time I found out what flight I was supposed to be on, like that I had the wrong time, the flight was leaving an hour earlier than I thought it was, I'm running through the airport. I run to the gate, and the gate agent sees me coming, and she puts on her angry face. She is angry. Basically, they were searching for my bags to get my bags off the plane because they were about to kick me off. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, we haven't done that yet, so I can still get on. She was like, yes, we've been calling you. But I was in a lounge chilling because my flight was an hour later, except I was wrong. But like, even though this was awkward, I did miss my flight, but like there's this like angry energy here now. Like I'm giving myself the grace, but I wasn't late on purpose, right? I wasn't late on purpose. It was just a mix-up in the time. These things happen. Even if I missed the flight, I would be able to handle it, right? Like I'd be able to change things. Giving yourself the grace that things are going to go wrong as you plan. Give yourself the grace that as you're planning to move abroad or take a career break, you're going to have second thoughts and you're going to change your mind. And the fear is going to kick in and you're going to say, no, I can't do this. You're going to say, no, I can't do this. You're going to talk yourself out of it. A lot of us that have left have talked ourselves out of it and into it like a million times. And you just have to remember that it's a thing that happens. and everyone goes through it, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay, and it's not a terrible thing. You will move abroad and make friends, and then realize that those aren't the friends for you, and that's okay, right? Like, you're learning, you're growing, you're stretching in a way that you haven't had to in a while. Like, it's very rare that we sort of get up and kind of start everything from scratch. And that can be what a career break, long-term traveling, or moving abroad is like. And so if you're starting everything from scratch, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to stay in an Airbnb that doesn't have ratings, or you're going to stay in an Airbnb that has ratings and roaches, and nobody in the ratings mentioned the roaches or the bugs in the bed. And you'll be okay. These are things that will work itself out. You'll make the best decisions you have with the information you have, and move on. So, your family, I'll tell you what a terrible idea it is. Terrible idea it is for you to do the thing that your heart is set on. You'll be okay. You'll give them the grace that they are speaking from fear and love, right? It's love. They love you enough to be scared for you, and you're going to say, okay, it's all right. Like, you don't have to believe in what I'm doing. You just have to watch me do it, right? And like, applaud from the sideline, right? Like, if you're not getting in the game, stay on the sideline, applaud. If I hear you booing, I'm about to block you out because I'm staying focused on what I'm doing. Steph coming through with the good advice. Adding a little cushion to your budget is a good way to give yourself grace in advance, to remind yourself when necessary that this is what the money was for. Yeah, that's really good advice. I always tell people to plan for once they make a budget, add like 10 to 25% for things to go wrong. And wrong doesn't mean that like you did something wrong. It just means that something unexpected happened, right? Like, it's COVID, right? Some of y'all keep coming in these comments. I don't think it's people who watch live. I think it's randoms that YouTube sends the algorithm. The algorithm sends my videos to come in talking about, oh, COVID is over, so we don't need to worry about that. COVID is not over. Summer is coming again. And in every summer, we've had a little bump in the COVID levels. We've had some new strain. We've had some new COVID family member join the crew, right? Every summer, we've had someone new pop up like, hey, girl, you ain't meet your cousin Sarah before, your cousin Delta, your cousin Omi, we all coming through, right? Like, we're coming to the family reunion this year. Every year it's been something, and there's no reason to believe that this summer is going to be different. So if you're traveling this summer, adding cushion to your budget and giving yourself grace for when things don't, where things don't go as you imagined, right? Like, not even as you planned, because y'all got to plan for things to go wrong. Things will go wrong, and it's okay. But your trip around the world, your move abroad is unlikely to be more than like 75% of what you imagined it would be, right? Like 25% of like, oh, I was not expecting that. Okay. That's what you got to expect. Like, it's not going to go exactly as planned, and you have to, I tell people to pivot, budget for it, pivot for it, but also don't hold on so strongly to the idea of what you expected that it ruins what you're experiencing, right? Like, you have to be able to say, yes, I wanted to be in Senegal right now. I wanted to be learning to surf in Dakar, Senegal right now. When I saw those flight prices, and the flight prices told me, you want to be in your apartment in Mexico City right now. So that's where I am. Like, I saw the flight prices and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to Portugal. I'm not going to Senegal. I'll be on a bus in Mexico doing something, because these numbers, especially for me, these numbers, and knowing that summer's here. So some COVID gonna do something, right? Like, I don't know what to expect. I gave myself permission to say, yes, this is my plan for the summer. It's not happening. It's okay. It's okay, but my plan is not happening. It's okay. I have to let go of the expectations, that dream of what to expect. Had to let it go because it's not happening. It's not happening, right? The body electric supplement. I like that name. COVID over. I'm a classroom teacher, and yes, in our school, we got a nice little flash up of COVID, even though we test twice a week and we mask. It's not over. Yes, people in your life, to Greta's point, people in your life are going to speak from fear. Kidnappings in Mexico. I am more aware of Black women going missing in the US than Mexico. I'm not saying women, like crimes against women in Mexico are real. It's real. Crimes against women in America are real. Crimes against women worldwide. Hello, friends. Crimes against women worldwide are real. And so there's no place you can go as a woman where you could avoid crimes against women. There's no place in the world you can go as a Black person and escape racism. And so those are reasons that people move, but you have to give yourself grace if you go somewhere and that old familiar terrible thing happens, right? Like you have to give yourself grace if you move to Mexico and a woman gets kidnapped, because many women got kidnapped this week in the US, right? Like you have to give yourself permission to say that, like, I made my decision with the information I had. I support the decision. You're free to change your mind, right? Like we're always free to say, okay, I tried this place, it wasn't right. And give yourself grace about that too. Give yourself permission to say, I went to a city, I thought it was going to be amazing. It's not for me. I'm quick to be like, nah, no. Okay, so fun fact, when I was looking to buy a house back in 2006, my realtor was like, dog, because I could walk in a house and just be like, nah. Like I'd be in the house less than 30 seconds and just be like, nope, next one. Walk in the house and be like, nope, next one. Nope, 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 nope. And when I walked into the house that I eventually bought, I was like, yes, I like it. It's got this like 70s laminate floor and bright orange counters. But yes, I'm feeling this. And so I'm really good at knowing, like, walking to a place and being like, yes or no for me. And I'm like that with cities. And so when I get to a city, if it's not for me, I can still hang out there. I'm telling y'all, Guadalajara is not for me, but I can hang out there, right? And I can find things to do. But I give myself permission to say, this city isn't for me. And so as soon as possible, I'm out of here to the next place, right? If I've booked a month-long stay and I can't cancel it and I'm gonna lose a lot of money, I might stay, hang out, whatever. But I know I don't need to extend that stay. I don't need to, like, I've made the decision. It's not for me and I'm on. You're not going to get it right every time, especially I tell you guys to get in Facebook groups and get information, but I also tell you to be careful about who you get information from, because not everyone is coming from your perspective, and not everyone is child. Okay, hold on. So yesterday, I'm in a Facebook group. If you're a little queasy, you might not want to listen to this part. Just I'll give you a thumbs up when it's time to come back. It's not that bad. Anyway, so I'm in this Facebook group here in Mexico City, and someone commented that they got a new STD from their partner. It was like myoplasma or something. I don't know how they identified what it was because they have not been able to find a doctor to treat it. Okay, first of all, we get new STDs in the year of our Lord 2022. What's happening? Wasn't COVID enough? Wasn't COVID enough? What are these STDs that no one knows how to treat? So this person says, I need to find a clinic that has some experience treating it, because he's like, I can figure out how to self-treat, but I'd rather have a professional guiding me through. Cool. All right. Facebook group. This is what I'm telling y'all. You've got to be careful. These Facebook groups, we're giving strangers grace as well. We're giving strangers grace. So in the Facebook group, folks are like, try this, try this clinic, try this clinic, try this clinic. One man pops up and he's like, all you need is fasting and urine therapy. My man said, I am trying to identify an somewhat English-speaking doctor to help treat my crotch rot. And I have no idea I don't know what that was. Whatever, I don't know. And someone else said, stop eating and drink your urine. Friends, we got to think about how, what we asked for in Facebook. I always harp on this one, but I'm gonna get it again. How we ask questions in groups. The man asked a good question. He gave facts. He said, this is what it is. This is what I need. Specifically, I am looking for an English-speaking doctor or at a hospital or clinic that specializes in STDs. Boom. You couldn't be clearer than that. Couldn't be clearer than that. The man said exactly what he needed. This other man came in talking about just fast and drink your urine, which even if that man said all you need to do is pray about it, right? If he said all you need to do is rub bananas on your stuff, it didn't answer the question asked. It did not answer. The man said, I need a doctor. And he said, no, you don't. And then there was a spiel about how big pharma, people don't talk about urine therapy because big pharma can't make money off of it. And I'm like, I feel like not, and that's the cure for everything. The cure for everything is fasting and urine therapy. We're giving grace to people who are not helpful and productive on our journey. We're giving grace to people who tell you should be drinking your urine when all you asked for was a doctor's name, right? We're giving grace to these strangers because you may not end up with that type of situation. You might not hear that in response to you in a group, but you're going to hear something that is not an answer to your question, that is going to take you off track, right? It's going to take you off track. We're giving grace to people because they're going to come from different perspectives and they're going to attempt to be helpful, even when it's hard to imagine, but that's helpful. Okay, so that leads me to another area of unhelpfulness that you will see with people, particularly before you leave and people on the road. Unsolicited advice. You're going to get a lot of unsolicited advice. Next time you get unsolicited advice, just think of urine therapy, right? It's always around you. It's all there's someone who's going to tell you. Stephanie did a video Thursday, about how people are always telling Black women to move to Africa to build. you could say, I want to move to Taiwan. And some stranger you've never met before in your life is going to tell you you need to move to Africa. And most of the time, it's not even a specific country. It's just like somewhere on the continent. You need, like, I know you want to go to Taiwan because whatever, they don't even care why. They're going to tell you they know better and you need to be over there doing something else. Unsolicited advice. We're going to give them grace or block them, right? Like, you choose. You choose. Angela says she's leaving next month, and the unsolicited advice is just, yes. You're going to get, like, that is, people talk about, someone's asked me before why I talk about unsolicited advice here and on my IG. And it's because a lot of times unsolicited advice comes across as if you know what's best for me. Like, you know better than I do, right? Like, I want to move to Taiwan. No, you should move to Africa. Like, you haven't explored why I want to move. You don't even know, you're not even giving me, like, I've said a specific city and you're telling me I need to move to just a continent. Like, it's very much, you would be a better steward of my life than I would, right? So unsolicited advice, like if I say I don't feel good, someone's going to show up here talking about all I need is just to drink black seed oil and do something. And I'm like, you don't even know what's wrong with me. Like, I just said I don't feel good. I could have been my toe. Like, what it could have been, my eye, a migraine. For all anybody knows, it could be some kind of cancer, but urine therapy and black seed oil and we good. And it's like, yeah, give those people grace or block them if they're strangers and they don't mean anything to you. Like, I don't know how I got here, but I find unsolicited advice really offensive. Like I'm always like, you don't have to do that. When the man said he was looking for a clinic to treat whatever was itching or scratching or burning, whatever that was, I don't know. All you had to do, if you didn't know anything, a clinic, was just not say anything. Just not say anything. Instead, here you go. I will forever remember urine therapy. Whenever I get unsolicited advice in the future, I'm just going to be like, urine therapy. It's just urine therapy. Urine therapy. Why? Like, it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Yeah. I think you pronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's Sibongile Lynch. I probably messed it up and I'm sorry. It says, give them grace and block them. Yes. Give them grace, block them. We don't need, when people give you unsolicited advice, if you care about them, give them grace that they want what's best for you, but they don't necessarily know what's best for you because you are a grown-up. You've made it this far. You know what's best for yourself. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Yeah. So also, next time you think about giving unsolicited advice, think about urine therapy and how crazy that sounds. How crazy it sounds for someone to ask one question and for you to answer something completely different or to be telling them what they should be doing with their life. That man told that other man to drink his own urine. Like, just as like really pushing and double down and was like, that is really the best choice for you. It's the only thing that gives you all 102 minerals, blah, blah. Next time you want to give unsolicited advice, urine therapy. That's what you sound like. That is what you sound like giving unsolicited advice. The man asked for the name of a doctor and someone told him to drink his own urine. It's not helpful. It's not on track. Helpful and productive. Okay. So for people who aren't helpful and productive, we are going to give them grace. You're going to give yourself grace when you end up in those moments when you're like, I expected it to be one way and it's the other way. It's totally the other way. You're going to give yourself grace. You're going to come to cities. People are going to come to Mexico City. I tell you, I love this place. I love this place. People are going to come to Mexico City and not love it. And while I don't understand, it's not for me to understand. It's for me to mind my own business, right? Like, it's not for me to understand. I love a city, other people will not. And even though they don't love a city, I want them to give themselves grace for coming and trying it out. You might get a side eye from me, but not like a forever side eye, just like a 2-second, like, you don't love it. Okay. But like, we can still be homies, right? Like, you're not going to love everything that you try. You're not going to love everything you try. Some people are going to move abroad and be like, no, let me move back to America. And we have to give ourselves grace. Oh, great. I heard something the other day somewhere on the internet. It might have been Twitter or IG. So someone else probably knows this quote better than I do. But it was something about how when things end in our culture, we talk a lot about how it's a failure. So if you started a business and then at some point decide to shutter it, it's a failed business. Your business failed. If you are married and decide to separate or get divorced, is a failed marriage. Instead of saying that not everything was meant to be forever, right? Like, if you go into business at 20, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to have, or 40 or 60, that business every day for the rest of your life, right? If you marry someone, we know statistics say perhaps you're not supposed to be married to this person every day for the rest of your life, right? That's what statistics show us, but we still look at things like that as failures. And so I want you to think in a larger sense, to think of them as transitions, right? Like, you've transitioned to something else. You were married to this human. You thought it was going to last forever, but it didn't, because you're choosing, one of you, both of you, something is choosing to transition to something else. Winnie says everything has its own season. Yes. You're choosing to do something else. You're choosing to transition to something new. If you move abroad and you don't like it, and you move back to wherever home was, that's not a failure. It's not a failure. And you don't have to worry about other people thinking of you as a failure, especially if they've never left their backyard. Right? Like, people who've never tried can't talk to you after you try. Like, what are they going to say? What are they going to say that matters? Right? What are they going to say to you that you're going to allow to matter to you if they never even tried? It's not a failure. You chose one thing and then you chose something else, and you're going to give yourself grace about it. Now, if you ask me, I wouldn't move back to the US before I tried like 3 countries, right? Because if one country or multiple cities in those countries, it might not be Costa Rica for you. I'm gonna talk about Krishan. Krishan was like, yes, from Black Fit Global. Hey girl, I don't know if she's here today. Krishan was like, yes, Costa Rica, we doing this. And she has some podcasts and some videos on this, I think you can check out. I don't remember where she talked about each trip. She was like, Costa Rica, here I come. Let's do the scouting trip. She got there and she was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That doesn't mean that her plan for Costa Rica was a failure. It means that she got there and she changed her mind, right? And she gave herself the grace to say, this might not be it, but something else is out there for me. I mean, she went to Portugal and was like, hey, mama, I like this. Krishan was messaging me from Portugal like, this is bae. Yes, right? Like, it may not be the first country you try, but even if you go to the first country, you're like, nope, absolutely not. I'm moving back to the US. It's just a different choice. It's not the image you had in your mind for what your forever would look like, but that's okay. You're allowed to change your mind. Give yourself grace that you don't have to stick out anything. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all. Stephanie says that Krishan now calls it Nosta Rica. No, Costa Rica. No, ma'am. No, sir. You have to give yourself permission to change your mind and to feel okay about it, right? To say, I tried something and that didn't work. And trying something new, if that is moving abroad, if that's taking a long career break, trying something new is really hard. It's really hard because your brain is like, girl, we don't know that. We know this. Your brain is like, no, sis, we know this. Let's stick with this. That other thing over there, we don't know that. We don't know that. We don't want that. No, thank you. Your brain is like, it's scary. I don't want to do that. I want to stay home. And that's why your people, some of your people who love you are going to do the same thing. Oh, it's scary for her. I don't like that. She might not make it back. You might not make it back from the grocery store, right? Like, I don't know. So we're giving ourselves permission to go out there, to make the choices, for the choices to not be right for us in the moment that we're living the choice, right? The choice may have been right when you decided, and then when you actually made it happen, when you're implementing, 2 years later, it might not be right anymore. And you're going to give yourself permission to say, okay, am I going to go somewhere else? Am I going to go back to something I know? Am I going to do research? But I'm not going to feel like a failure. And that's something I see in Facebook groups sometimes is people are so set on finding the absolute perfect place. The like of all of the land on God's green earth, like the 1 square meter that's perfect for them is what they're looking for. And if they can't figure out what that is, they don't make a move. And if they get to what they think it is, and it's not the absolute most perfect, ideal utopia for them, they're going back home. Nope, packing up my shit, going home. What you think your journey is going to look like versus what your journey actually looks like, it's not. It's not. Mm-mm. It's not. Because it's the little things. Like this week I needed a, so random. Story time. This week I needed a plumber. I'm still unsure if the process of hiring a plumber is distinctly different in Mexico than it is in the US, or whether these folks were trying to scam me. Oh, wait, what's going on? What happened to my camera? My camera said no mas. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Oh, I don't know. I just turned off. That was weird. I didn't touch anything. Okay, yeah. So I don't know what was happening with those plumbers. I'm trying to see if this is working. Yep, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with them, but I was like, either the process is significantly different or you're scamming me. And I don't know, but I'm not into it. Right? So even like what my point is that I never imagined that hiring a plumber outside of the US would be a significantly different experience than hiring a plumber in the US. And I still don't know whether I don't know what I'm supposed to pay for this. I still don't know whether I got ripped off, right? But I did the best I can. And that's what a lot of your experiences are going to be like when you pick up and move somewhere else, or when you take a career break, you're long-term traveling. You don't know. Like you literally have no idea. I literally was like, why do you need to know my address before you can give me a price quote for a service? Why is that? What are we doing here? And I like, it's obvious why, but that wasn't like the only difference. There were quite a few differences. And I was like, I don't understand why. Like, is this a cultural thing? Is it that You cannot give me an estimate because people in Mexico respond to estimates differently than people in America do. Like, we have a different understanding of what an estimate is. Or are you trying to scam me? I'm tired of this gringo pricing. I will deal with it. But like, I'm gonna pay attention. So the point is that think your experiences are not going to look like what you imagine, and you're going to have to be okay with that and give yourself grace that I may have been ripped off by a plumber this week, but he was the least rippy offy person. he was the most reasonable of all the people I contacted. I don't know. Did I get scammed? Did I get ripped off this week by a plumber? I literally have no idea. But I did what I can do as an adult. I tried to get quotes. I did the best I could do. And he was the best choice of all of the terrible choices. Okay. That's a micro thing, but you're going to have that experience on the macro level where you're going to be at a country coming into immigration, and they're going to ask for something that you've never seen them ask for before, never heard they needed. And you're going to have to deal with it, right? It's not going to be what you pictured. When you come upon places and you're like, you're not asking those people over there for this thing, but you're asking me for this thing. And what's the difference between those people and me? Let's see if we can figure it out, right? When you have those moments, it's not going to look like the journey you imagined. It's not going to feel like the journey you imagined. It's still going to be okay. You're going to have to give yourself grace of saying I went there. It was not an awesome experience. That experience entering the country or leaving the country or something else was an awesome experience. Maybe that means I'm not going to go back there again. Maybe it means I'm going to leave earlier than I want. And maybe you thought that was your forever place and now you feel differently. It's okay. You can change your mind. You're going to change your mind. You're going to change your mind about a lot of things. All right. Listen. Dee says she's prepared for the unexpected. I mean, that's why I try something new because I moved the camera. Now I can't see the comments now. There we go. Yes, the plumbing is fixed. And that is really all that matters. That's all that matters. Picky Girl says it's like trying a new restaurant. She took me to a new restaurant, y'all, yesterday. She took me to a new restaurant yesterday. And I'm not even blaming her for this, but it was not a win. It was not a win. It was like I was sad that the food tasted good. I was sad that the food tasted good because I would go back for the food, but the service was so terrible. And I'm used to service in Mexico being exceptional. I go to places where the service is exceptional. And so I was like, what's happening? Why? Sidebar. Anyway, y'all know if Adelia mentions a restaurant, I'm going to talk some smack because she makes terrible restaurant choices. It was bad. Literally, I had to one point be like, are you our waiter? Because I waved at three of you standing together and y'all just waved back. What's happening? Y'all three waiters standing around were like, hey girl. And I was like, no, I need some water, something. No, can I place it? Anyway. Things did not go expected at the restaurant. And someone will give Adelia grace for that. It shall not be me. I'm adding it. Oh, this one, I'm going to give her some grace on this one. It's not going to get added to the list. But y'all know I can't trust her. Yeah, okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about giving ourselves grace. We're talking about giving our family grace. We're talking about grace for yourself as a mother, for your mother, for the people you have mothered, giving grace where applicable, right? It's a hard day for a lot of us. It's a hard day. So we gonna do what we can. Hi, Mom. We can do what we can and give grace where we can. Um, and know that while impact is often the most important thing, a lot of people have good intentions. I'm sure your in therapy man had good intentions. I'm sure he really believes that the cure to everything that ails you is to fast and drink your own urine. I'm sure he does. That man was committed to it. He believes that. It was unhelpful. The impact was not good. But the intentions were there. And I know that intentions don't get you where you need to go, right? I'm not going to pretend they do. Intentions do not get you where you need to go. But I am trying to give grace where the intentions are good. Adelia had good intentions when she took me to the lunch spot for cartel kids yesterday. She did. Well, yeah, that's what we were there. Like, I think this is where we are. I think we've reached the children of the lunch location. We won't be coming back. Okay, Halisi's with her mom, and she's trying to convince her to not move out of the country. Grace on Mother's Day. That's the thing. Like, Halisi is a grown-up, right? Like, you're a grown-up. You have a husband who you make decisions with, and your mother, with the best of all intentions, is still trying to dibble and dabble in your life. Once, is she still watching? I don't know. My mom told me that she would not treat me as a grown-up until I had children of my own. And I was like, I know I was in my 30s when she said that. And I was like, here's the thing. That's not going to work for me. Like, waiting until you choose to treat me like a grown-up is not going to work for me. So we're going to have to boundaries. The other side of giving grace, strong boundaries. I love a good boundary. Love a good boundary. Give grace and block them, right? Give grace, have strong boundaries. If your mom will not support, if anyone in your family will not support you moving abroad, unless you need them to support your move, don't talk to them about it. Stop talking to them about your move. If they're not going to support it, stop talking to them about it. It's not. If they don't have anything good to say, don't do it. Like my mama in here talking about lies, all lies. She'd be the first one to say she never said that. She said it. She meant it. But now, I don't know if it's dementia kicking in or what, but now she don't know what I'm talking about. Don't let them gaslight you. Strong boundaries, right? We're giving grace and we're building strong boundaries for people who don't respect your boundaries or your decisions, right? Like if you, I had a client a while ago who was like, I'm taking a career break. And I was like, okay, tell me about your family. And she's like, me and my son are going. And I was like, she's like, yeah, I'm married. Yeah, we're still like fully married, live together. But she was like, if he's not going, he's not going. And I said, okay. So like, this is a person that you live with and you're not trying to separate from, but either they're getting on board, they're choosing this person, you're giving the person the option of getting on board with you or not getting on board. In this situation, I feel like if you're married to someone, you probably need to tell them your plan and you live together and like things are kosher, things are good. This is someone you discuss. You have a child together, like you discuss But you're not asking for permission. She was not asking for permission. She was like, we'll tell him what we're doing and where we're going. But if he doesn't want to go, that's fine. Right? Like, I need a break. Think about other people in your life. Like, do you actually need to? She needed to tell him the plans because they shared a child together and they were happily married. Do you need to tell these other people in your life your plans? Right? Or can you just be like, okay, so 2 weeks from now, I got my flight, I got everything worked out. 2 weeks from now, I'm going to start my journey in this country. I'm having to go away. I had a going away party. That's where a lot of people found out I was leaving. I will be leaving the country. Come see me on my last day in town. There's no conversation to be had. At that point, there's really no conversation to be had because strong boundaries, right? Strong boundaries. I'm telling you what is going to happen. I don't care how you feel about it. Greta said she stopped talking to her family about it. And Shadi says boundaries are essential. So Dee says that nice thing for her, she's always trying something new so none of her folks are surprised. I think I'm a lot like that, where my people were like unexpected, but also kind of expected. Like, okay, all right. Yeah. So Simi's been avoiding phone calls. So I listened to someone the other day that was talking about how whenever they have having a conversation with a family member where the person is being dismissive, like, oh, how's your little business? They're always like immediately change the subject, like, would you like some guacamole? Like immediately changing the subject to something completely different. So like try that as a strategy. Like when someone says something like, you still gonna move overseas? They kidnapping folks in Mexico. Say, I went to the grocery store today and I could not find any Greek yogurt. I don't know what's going on. If there's a short, completely and obviously change the subject. Where it's like, I'm not even going to engage with this thing you're doing. I'm going to change the subject completely. So that's my new strategy. I'm going to let you know we're not going to talk about this. And I'm going to let you know in the most passive aggressive way ever. I'm usually not a passive aggressive person, but boundaries. Usually that by the time you're having those conversations, you've hinted before that you don't like the tone of a conversation. This isn't the first time they've mentioned your little business or, moving to places where you're going to get kidnapped. And you've probably before said, you've given them all the facts of why it's fine and you feel safe or you feel safer than the US and they're still not really paying attention to you. Change the subject completely. Like you didn't even hear what they said. It's fine. I give you permission. Yes. Okay, I see you in the comments, Aisha, and I ignore you in the comments. Thank you. Listen, Auntie Trey had a family forum. I love that and hate that at the same time. Oh, the one thing to know about me is if we're having a family forum, I'm probably gonna walk out of there real early. I'm probably gonna be like, ooh, my car is here. I gotta go. Whatever we're talking about, it could be about me, it could be about somebody else, about I'm clocking out after maybe 45 minutes. Nope, no thank you. I've checked out of this conversation. So good for you for doing that. Rhonda says, I had a friend say they didn't know how they felt about me traveling across the country by myself. No one cares how you feel about it, sir. Unless I am asking you to sponsor this adventure, why would your opinion matter? Unless I'm asking you to hold these kids till I get back, why would your opinion? And even then, are they your kids? Who cares what you think? Take them kids and go. Mm-mm. People are really good at projecting their fears onto you. Change the subject. Bigger boundaries. And grace. And know that it's not because they don't think you're capable. It's probably because they don't think they're capable, right? Like you're trying to do something they can't imagine doing themselves. And so they say, well, I couldn't do it. How can she? Now, they might not be able to fully process if that's what's going on in their mind. I couldn't do it, right? But the reason they think that you can't do it is because they don't think they can do it. But that's a them problem, not a you problem. We're not worried about what they can do because they're going to be at home, right? The right choice for everyone isn't leaving. It is the right choice for some people. If it's the right choice for you, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. Mm-mm. Yes, Amita, you're in therapy. Keep it in the back of your head. Next time someone starts talking to you crazy, just be like, that man told that other man to drink his urine. Unsolicited. Completely unsolicited. People will say anything. People will that at the end of the day is the point. People will say anything. And most of the time, it's not helpful, it's not productive. We are giving them grace. And if necessary, we are blocking them online or in real life. And maybe blocking just looks like a stronger boundary. I don't talk to you as often, or I don't talk to you about this topic, or we switch from phone to text only so that I can specifically ignore you when I need to, right? Stronger boundaries. Projecting their fears and uncertainty. Yes. Mm-mm. Yes. You're in therapy. It's for real that's gonna stick with me for a long time because I like I screenshot in case it got deleted. I screenshot it to save it for Adelia, and I was like, she's in the group too. But I was like, did you see that? Do you see this? Also, it's important. We don't always have to care where people are coming from when they're not being supportive of what we want to, of the choices we're making in our life. We don't always have to care about where they're coming from. That's not what giving grace is. It's not that like it's important or that you need to respect everyone's opinions about your own life. You don't have to. But I think it can be interesting to think about what people are saying about themselves when they say this. So when this man said you're in therapy, fasting and you're in therapy, this is a man who drinks his own urine. And he admitted it on the internet proudly. He's giving this advice because he drinks his own urine. The people who are like, nah, I could never go, blah, blah. Why would you ever, blah? These are people who are showing you their fears. They are putting their fears on display. If you're not scared of what they're scared of, their advice can't help you, right? If you're not scared of what they are scared of, nothing in the way of this advice will help you, right? I think it was Angela who said that one of her naysayers is afraid of flying. And so they're like, why would you ever? If I'm not scared of flying, why are we even having this conversation? Like, why would your fear of flying stop me from doing what I want to do? Right? Why would you fasting and drinking urine as your choice whenever you feel unwell impact me? Why would I let that impact me when that's not a choice I'm going to make? Right? Like, you're telling me who you are, and I am not the same person. Right? At the core, your fears, your unsolicited advice, or these other people's fears and unsolicited advice, and the things they throw at you that you're like, ooh, no, don't want that. That's telling you who they are and what they believe. And if you are not that same person and you don't believe that same thing at your core, it's just noise. We're giving grace and we're blocking, right? We're both at the same time. I didn't even know. That was some wild stuff. Woo! Listen, getting ready to block somebody today for peace of mind. Today's going to be a hard day on the internet. Mother's Day for a lot of us is a hard day on the internet. Unplug. Unplug, but like not just for today, probably for tomorrow, maybe for like 3 days. Unplug. Don't pay it. The first post I saw this morning, the first Mother's Day post I saw from a man this morning. I'm trying to be more positive about males, but y'all make it challenging. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm like, yes, men are lovely humans, but shoo, the first Mother's Day post I saw today thanked the woman. I don't know her name. I don't know their relationship, because it just thanked, I think it said, I want to thank her. And there was a photo of her. I think it was she or her was used somewhere in there, but there was no, it was just a pronoun, right? That's all it was. Pronoun she or her. Basically, I want to thank her for always creating a peaceful home that I love coming to after work. And there was something else in there about like, there's some other labor moment. Like it was like creating a peaceful home, but like something else that was pointed to labor. It's Mother's Day. Does she have kids? I don't know. Does she have a name? I don't know. But you really just thanked her for her labor for you. Like legitimately. The first post I saw from a man was thanking a woman whose relationship is unknown. I don't know what it is. I don't know her name. And the post, she wasn't tagged, so I guess she would see it if she, I don't know. But it literally just thanked her for the things she did for him. And the man who wrote it is 43, 44. There was literally nothing else written about her besides there's labor you do for me, and I'm grateful for that. It's gonna be hard. Like I can't. Those posts have me like I need to clock out, because like it's Mother's Day. If there's a mother in your life you want to celebrate them. But if the only thing you can celebrate them for is the labor they're doing for you. You didn't even mention kids. I don't know if I have kids. It's the labor. If all it screams, I don't like, it's better than being alone, right? Like BJ told me to give him grace. Yes, I gave him grace by not blocking him after seeing that. And also saying like, this is not going to be a good day for me on the internet, because I'm going to see a bunch of men doing stuff like this, and it's going to feel very like self-centered. And it's going to feel like they're not actually like, they don't know who their partner is outside of a person who does for them. And I struggle with that. I struggle with seeing that in mass, right? Like once a day I can see it, but I know I'm going to see it from a lot of men today where I was like, I can't. Like if she's nothing more than the labor she produces for you, ew. Nothing nice to say? Nothing about her, her personality, her hobbies, nothing? Mm-mm. Anyway, so yes, y'all in here telling me to give him grace. I'm giving him grace. I gave him grace. I said, oh yes, I understand. It's not for me though. So I'm gonna give myself some grace and get off the internet today because, ooh, okay. So Halisi says, well, at least he was grateful. Some men, ... at least. I don't know if you guys know Mikkel. She's another YouTuber. We hung out on Friday, and basically, at some point, I was talking about something, and she was like, "The bar is in hell. The bar is in hell." And I was like, "The bar is on fire in hell. Like, it's not just a bar in hell. Like, the bar is in hell. Like, we what we are requiring from other humans is like, I feel like it's the lowest it's ever been in civilization. I don't know. It probably isn't. It's probably always been in hell. I just didn't know. But the bar is in hell. Yeah. Mm. Rhonda says I would have gracefully blocked him. I didn't block him. I was just like, I just can't, because he doesn't post frequently. But he came out of the woodworks today to thank her for working for him. Awesome. We will not be talking about Republican men and women's rights because no, that's not what we do here. We like to pretend that America doesn't exist, except for like a launching pad to go somewhere else. Thank you. No, we don't do that. Rhonda says we love to accept the bare minimum, like we don't deserve more. I don't think it's that we love to accept it. It's that we have learned that so many other people will accept the bare minimum. And so that if we don't, we might be alone. But like, I like being alone. I do. There's peace in my house. And the reason there's peace in my house is because there's nobody else but me in my house. And I enjoy that. I do. Yes, it's like the bar being low is definitely normalized. Rhonda, you're right about that. But yeah, so if this is a hard day for you, if you struggle with it, peace and blocking. Grace and blocking. That's what we're doing today. We're giving grace. And we are literally or figuratively blocking people. You don't have to block them for real, but maybe like, I'm good. A couple things to like do the thing on Facebook or IG where like you can't, like you're still following them because you have a relationship with them and you know, if you like the drama, but like to unfollow them so you don't see their posts. So like if I want to, I can go back and like say, is it your birthday? I can comment on your page, right? But like I do not see your posts in my feed because they're not helpful, right? To me. So yeah, do what you gotta do. It's your day. Make today your day. Treat yourself well. Give grace and block. Whatever version of that you need to for all the people in your life. Stephanie says, being alone is proactive grace. Yes. And that's the second time she said that. So I'm going to double down on what she's saying right now. Be proactive about your grace, about like giving grace to yourself and to others, wherever there's space. Earlier, she mentioned creating space in your budget, adding some cushion in your budget as a way to proactively give yourself grace. Being alone proactively gives myself and other people grace. Right? Like I don't have to hear any, it creates peace, right? Do the things, if you know that today is a hard day for you, for whatever reason, and there's a ton of reasons today could be hard, give yourself proactive grace to say, I don't need to be on the internet today, right? I don't need to be on social media today. And I'm telling you, if you think today is hard, it's going to be residuals for like 3 or 4 days. You might need to be off all of those days, right? Give yourself that proactive grace of saying, I don't have to see people's posts that trigger me, right? And for me, the trigger is women being treated like they are nothing more than labor for men. Like their entire role in the relationship is laboring for these men. That triggers me. And so I said, no more internet, no more Facebook. No, thank you. Yes, Angela, with a good point. What is alone, though? Not being romantically partnered doesn't mean we don't have meaningful relationships in our life. It's not a curse. No, it's not. It's not. And I find that women who are not romantically partnered often have more choices than women who are romantically partnered. And frequently, in my circle, are happier. Right? Not having a romantic partnership is not a problem. Okay. Auntie Trey writes in her grace notes every day. She has a lot to be grateful for. Yes. Focus on gratitude today. Gratitude and grace and blocking. And don't forget, get your peace where you need it. I'm going to wrap this up real quick, but the point of this all is that if you're here, if you're watching this, you're probably making really big decisions in your life, and you will not be able to get through this experience without giving yourself grace, without giving others grace, and without strong boundaries, right? If you let everybody run in and out telling you how they feel, you'll never really feel like you're on stable ground, right? Like if you let other people's opinions trigger you, you'll never, and you allow them to stay in your life triggering you, you're never really going to be on stable ground, right? You're always going to say, maybe they're right. Or you're mad. And you don't want to be mad during this planning process. You want to be as peaceful as possible. So give yourself grace, give other people grace, and block as necessary. In real life, change the subject, whatever you can do to be like, this was fun, but I'm not having this conversation with you. Thanks. Okay, y'all. If you don't know, career break coach. I help people plan career breaks and move abroad. I'll drop in the comments how to work with me. I have a free sabbatical planning guide that you can get. You can work with me with one-on-one coaching, like an hour at a time, or I have a 12-month group coaching program that I think is the bee's knees. And there are a lot of women here today who are in the program and love it and will tell you it is awesome. And yeah, I'd love it if you join that too. So whatever you're going to do with your day, it's not Mother's Day here in Mexico. Mother's Day doesn't change from day of the week. It doesn't change. It's not always on a Sunday. It's on a specific date, which I guess is the 9th, the 10th. I don't know. It's Tuesday. Adelia, who is my information source for everything, said it's Tuesday, which basically means I will not be trying to go out to do anything on Tuesday because the street's going to be hot, right? Like it is going to be a good old celebratory time. And so I will be in the house because I don't want to hear, do you have reservations? Okay, so this yesterday, I'm gonna tell y'all. Yesterday, and then I'm gonna end this because this is truly an off-topic story, but I'm telling it anyway. Yesterday we're walking around. We went to like 12 different businesses yesterday, just hanging out, doing stuff, running around. We kept coming to these places and being like, hey, can we like go inside, whatever. Some of them, we just want to see the view from I'm working on a project, so I want to see their view from their rooftop or from their deck, whatever. And over again, it was, do you have reservations? And it was like, no, you can't go up. I can't even go up and look at your place because I don't have reservations. And I'm like, we're going to look up and come right back down. Cool. We'd get up there and it'd be empty. It'd literally be empty. There'd be nobody in there, or like less than half the seats table. At the restaurant that Adelia selected yesterday, the woman at the door was like, do you have reservations? We said no. She said, ooh, I don't think so. And we're like, you don't, she's like, you don't have reservations? And we were like, no. She's like, all right, hold up. So she calls upstairs and speaks to someone and says, is there a table for two? And they're like, yes. So she says, yes, you can get it. But if someone comes, you may have to go eat at the bar. Like if the person who has reservations comes, you may have to go eat at the bar. We go upstairs. there are I'm going to say more than 40 tables, and possibly 6 of them are taken. From where I'm sitting, so it's like an L-shaped restaurant. From where my seat is, I can see 10 open two tops. 10 open two tops. And you talking about we don't have reservations and we might need to move to the bar. While I was sitting there, those 10 open two tops, I think one was filled. Why do y'all play these games? Why do y'all play these games? And your drinks are not good? Your food was good though. Disappointed by that. Your service is terrible. And you playing game. If the reservations come, you're gonna have to move to the bar. Literally, there were like more than 30 open tables in that restaurant. Why? Why are we playing these games? So Adelia wants the record to reflect that was her second choice. But I'm telling you, she'd be taking me to places, and I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? What's going on? She called up and asked if there were tables available, and there were literally like 30 tables available out of 40. We will not be going back to the restaurant. Terrible. But yeah, sometimes I love the city. Sometimes places here are more pretentious than they need to be. More pretentious than the quality you get. Like if you're pretentious and I'm getting good service and good food, I might be like, okay, right, I get it. But like your service is trash, your drinks are trash, your food wasn't, and your food was like a B plus. So like I said, not everything here is what I want on my journey. Not everything hits the mark, but I don't expect that in any city. I'm not expecting a perfect city. I'm not expecting a city free from violence against women. I'm not expecting a city free from racism. I am expecting a flawed city, and I get a flawed city. But is it flawed in a way that I can deal with? More of it I can deal with the flaws in the cities I lived in the US? Yes. Angela's in that. Why are they holding tables for Mr. Hope and Mrs. Prayer? Yes. What are y'all doing? What? Ain't nobody up in here. Nobody's here. We're not. Go away, child. And Our Black Utopia says there is no perfect city place. None. You won't find it. So do not wait. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of people wait until they can identify the perfect place. Don't do it. Don't do it, girl. Pick a place that seems like it's better than where you are right now. Pick a place that seems like, sure, I think I might like it there. If you don't like it there, go somewhere else. Give yourself grace to start over and to make different decisions and for things not to go as planned. All right, y'all. I think that's it. Sibongile. I think that's how I pronounced it before when you said I pronounced it accurately. Are there many Black Mexican businesses available, and would it matter? There are not that I know of, and I don't know that it would matter. Mexico City is a very classist city, and so you run into pretentious places because classism, right? It's just that kind of place. But I'm not going to get shot in the grocery store, so feeling good about that. Anyway, y'all, that's my time. That's my set. I'm out. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.